And here is the second investment property. It had been 20 years since the first investment in South Florida. This one is a farm, agriculturally zoned, A1 zoning, which is best because it allows all farm animals. And there's no restriction on how many dogs you can have either to guard the farm. When I first saw the place, it was empty, just trees, an electric pole, a well, and 2 septic tanks, and drain fields, of course. This yellow cabin, built on piers, we built there in 2003, a few months after purchasing the property. The little building next to it, to the right, is a combination laundry room and bathroom with a bathtub. And the other little area under the extended roof of the outhouse laundry house had an outdoor sink and some table for an area to work on with plants. And then there's that extended area of lattice work, which was just kind of a storage area. In the meantime, we purchased the property. It was almost 5 acres, 4.99. And we got dogs, and then we got sheep and goats. And the dogs I chose were Great Pyrenees because they work independently taking care of the herd. They gather them if they're not all together, if they're getting too far to the perimeter where the fence is. They also watch after them if there's any intruder, let's say a coyote or a person. And I had read that a Great Pyrenees has such a strong jaw that it could actually kill a bear. And I had seen one bear in the neighborhood. So before I got the animals, I was thinking, should I get them? Because the taxes on the property were about close to $2,000 a year. And if I had livestock, enough of them, which I only needed about 15, then the taxes would go down. So I did that, and the taxes went down from about $1,800 a year to about $400 a year, which was great. Of course, I ended up spending a lot more than that on those animals, first to purchase them, and then once in a while I needed a veterinarian. And of course, they needed vaccinations. So I kept building on the farm, and eventually we put in a barn, a 2-story barn, which was great for storage. And I learned how to take care of sheep and goats while on the side I was working as a nurse at the health department. And calculating everything I spent, it was over $7,000 on those animals when I had them. But it was a great experience. So my first idea was to buy properties, live in them for 2 years, so it would be my official residence and homestead, and then sell it and get another handyman special, and live in that one for 2 years. But for some reason, I ended up staying longer, first in the house in South Florida, over 20 years, because everything was going well there, and the real estate taxes hadn't risen yet. And this farm, I just liked it so much there, the nature, the rain, all those trees, the peaceful neighborhood, that I ended up staying there before I sold it for, let's say, from 2002 to about 2013. And when I sold it, I made a deal with the buyer that he could buy the place without any interest. I would give him the mortgage. I would be like the bank. And in return for that, he would let me live there in this yellow cabin until he finished paying off the mortgage, which would be approximately 9 years. Well, it went well for a while, but then he started making problems because I wasn't home much. I had started traveling a little bit. and he was very unhappy. I guess because while I was there, and I wasn't traveling, I was like a free foreman, and I was helping him with the animals and everything. So he started trying to get me evicted, and he turned off my electricity, and he dumped out the water where I had fish, and I had lawyers for a while. One of them took money and didn't do anything, and the other one, he kept saying that the place, this deal, this problem you have with him is getting too complicated legally. So he said he didn't want to represent me anymore. And then there was an inspector out saying that the cabin, needed to be more legal. It needed to have specs drawn, etc. So I ended up leaving the farm and going to my current residence, which was also a handywoman special. So I'm planning to write the details of everything I learned on the farm below this video and put pictures of things how they were and some stories, and maybe something will help you with your experience, your future experience, whatever you invest in. In the meantime, as a post note, the fellow that bought the farm is still paying me my monthly payment. And actually, it's a good thing that I left there, because this handywoman special I'm living in now, I bought for $31,000, and it's worth a lot more now. So I actually did better financially by leaving the farm and being in this place. So that's about it, and I'll write more and post photos below.